If you're one of those people who misses traditional Plants vs Zombies gameplay, then Operation Octo might just be the next game to shoot to the top of your must playlist. If Plants vs Zombies was set underwater and modernised with extra mechanics, then you'd have Operation Octo. It's a fun tower defense game that brings a lot to the table, so let's dive deeper in our full Operation Octo review. So straight out of the gate, Operation Octo bills itself as being styled on Plants vs Zombies, and that's true. You can really see that with the kind of tower defense nature of the game, except where the traditional Plants vs Zombies is kind of has zombies coming at you in rows and from one direction. Operation Octo is set underwater and in a 3D environment where the enemies pull up on boats on all sides of the maps and navigate walls and obstacles to come and try and attack you, who you play as an octopus, and the clams that are your home and give you points, but we'll get into that. So the game overall is set as a kind of strategy tower defense. It takes 4 to 7 hours to complete, and what you get in Operation Octo appears quite bare bones in the menus. You know, there's no tutorial, you can change the audio levels and things like that, but it's really you just play through the campaign for the most part, and the campaign takes place over a number of missions, each set within 3 different biomes. The gameplay starts out quite simple, and the early missions teach you how to play the game, but without kind of smacking you over the head with it, and you find out that the pre-positioned kind of clams will open at various intervals and release points that you can walk over, and it will give you points to then set down more turrets. And yeah, I did say walkover because in this game you have full 3D control of your character, the Octopus, and that really does add a new tactical dimension to it. As I said, you can build new turrets, so where you place those turrets is crucial because the enemies, as I said, will plop on boats. They're skeletons usually and things like that. And there's different types of enemies, so some of them will fire big cannonballs at you, some of them are melee with swords, and there's ways to counter them. So the sword guys are, can be taken down with your normal turrets. The pirate guys who have big cannons fire massive cannonballs. You have a separate turret that can bounce those cannonballs back, so they're very good for taking out those guys. Obviously, as you go along and as the levels progress, things get crazier and crazier, but the general gameplay loop is your clams open and give you some points. You use those points to build the strategic towers in the places you think will be the most beneficial, because as I said, it's a 3D environment. They're not just coming front on like in Plants vs Zombies. Then you take out these enemies. They drop coins that are used for permanent upgrades after missions in the levels, and they also drop the little orbs as well. So you pick up the orbs, you get more points, and you build more turrets, and it goes on like that until the waves are over. The enemies come at you in waves, so there's a certain amount of waves. It'll say last wave. You beat them, mission's complete. It does feel kind of easy in the beginning, but as I said, there's 3 biomes, 4 to 7 hours of gameplay, and as you get through it starts to really ramp up and things get crazy. You also get gadgets which you can equip and put down, and these are different kind of time-based special abilities. So like one of the gadgets allows you is like a puffer fish or something that attacks the enemies as they come at you, but then explodes and blows everything up, but then you have to wait for it to cool down again. So it's really about learning what turrets to build, how to defend your base, and what locations to do things in. This setting is underwater, as we've kind of touched on, but it really reminds me of Nintendo's Splatoon. The characters have these kind of really light-hearted but funny sort of personalities and themes to them. And while there isn't a lot to the game, like what I have described is the gameplay, it's a very casual pick it up, play it for a bit, and then, put it down. This would be great on something like the Switch. It really does have a lot more personality than a lot of other tower defense games that try to be too serious in the genre, or they just aren't as well polished. Despite being, as I did critique it, a little bit bare bones, as, you've just basically, you go into the menu, push start game. It also does feel polished. It's complete. It feels great. There's little, I would call them cutscenes, but they're not really. Like, characters talk. They don't have voice acting. You read it, but it does feel fleshed out And there's a full game here. This is not early access, which is another pet peeve of all of these kind of games half finished. And it does get crazy, and it does offer a challenge. And it's a fun and unique time. That's the main kind of takeaway from this game, is that it is fun. So if you're looking for traditional Plants vs Zombies style gameplay, and this really does feel like the successor to Plants vs Zombies, even though it doesn't look like it because it's set underwater. Operation Octo is the spiritual successor to classic Plants vs Zombies tower defense, even if it doesn't look like it, because it's, you know, set underwater and doesn't really have plants or zombies, unless you count those skeleton guys. The added ability to walk around the map and plan the placement of your turrets in a 3D environment adds a whole new tactical element to the genre, and the underwater setting gives the game a unique theme. The light-hearted nature of the character design means that Operation Octo has tons of personality, and it reminds me of Nintendo's Splatoon. The game is let down by not really having a tutorial and feeling kinda bare bones in the menus and game modes, however, but the 3 distinct biomes and roughly 4 to 7 hour playtime more than make up for it, especially when you consider the other competition in this genre. Operation Octo feels thoroughly polished, and I can wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone looking to relive Plants vs Zombies style tower defense, but with a modern twist.